We're asked to write a polynomial, and we know that it has a 0 at 2 and a 0 at 3i. So if we apply the complex conjugate theorem, we know that negative 3i must also be a 0. So there's two different methods for how we can write this equation. Method 1 is we're going to write the factors. So x minus 2 times x minus 3i times x minus negative 3i would be x plus 3i. And then multiply the factors together, and that will be the equation. So I'm going to use some creative grouping and group my last two together and multiply them first. X minus 3i times x plus 3i is the difference of squares. So when I multiply those together, I'm going to get the first term squared minus the second term squared. So I'm going to have x minus 2 times x squared minus 9i squared, which is x minus 2 times x squared minus, recall that I squared is equal to negative 1. So if we have x squared minus negative 9, we'll have x minus 2 times x squared plus 9. And so now we can FOIL this out. X times x squared would be x cubed. X times 9 would be 9x. Negative 2 times x squared is negative 2x squared. Negative 2 times 9 is negative 18. So if we had the equation x cubed minus 2x squared plus 9x minus 18 equals 0, it would have zeros at 2, 3i, and negative 3i. Now the second method for how to work this problem is using the sum and product of the roots. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the 3i and the negative 3i and find their sum. 3i plus negative 3i is equal to 0. And if I multiply those together, 3i times negative 3i is equal to negative 9i squared, which would be equal to 9. So that means that 3i and negative 3i form the equation x squared minus 0x plus 9. And then I know that 2 comes from the factor x minus 2. So I end up with x minus 2 times x squared plus 9, which is the same thing we had a moment ago. And when we multiply this together, we end up with x cubed minus 2x squared plus 9x minus 18 equals 0. So using the sum and product to write your quadratic equation is a nice, easy way to do that. Or you can always write the factors, multiply the factors together to come up with your equation.